It wasn't even 2 hours after she made him spill our secret that she turned around and called me emotionally manipulative. Funny coming from the woman who cornered a 9-year-old with cookies and guilt. I never thought I'd end up being one of those divorced dads who walked on eggshells around their own house. But ever since Megan moved in, me ex-wife's former best friend turned stepmom to my son Liam, it's like the walls themselves started judging me. Not that I had much of a choice in the whole Megan being involved in Liam's life thing. My ex, Taylor, got full custody when we split 3 years ago, and Megan moved in with them 6 months later. It wasn't long before Liam started calling her mom too. I didn't love it, but I lived with it. Co-parenting is already a minefield. I didn't need to step on another one just because my pride was bruised. What I did need, though, was a little space. A little sanctuary. One place where it was just me and Liam. Our thing. And for a while I had that. Every Friday when I had Liam over for the weekend, we'd do secret shake night. It started small, just the two of us trying weird milkshake recipes after dinner. Peanut butter and pickles. Marshmallows and cayenne. Silly, gross, hilarious. Sometimes we'd rate them like food critics. Sometimes we'd invent stories about where the milkshake came from, like an alien diner or a wizard's pantry. But it wasn't really about the shakes. It was ours. Liam looked forward to it like Christmas morning. I did too. It was the one thing the custody papers, court dates, and rotating school calendars couldn't touch. Until Megan got curious. It started with her asking Liam what his favorite part of Dad's house was. Then she asked about the fridge. Then the blender. Then one night, she dropped Liam off early on a Thursday and brought a grocery bag full of chocolate syrup, bananas, and coconut milk. For tomorrow night, she said with a wink. I figured I'd stock you guys up for shake night. My heart plummeted into my shoes. You know about that? I asked. She laughed. Of course. Liam told me all about it. He's such a little chatterbox once you get him going. Honestly, I think it's adorable that you guys do that. I wish Taylor and I had something like that with him. That night I couldn't sleep. I wasn't angry, not exactly. It wasn't like Megan was trying to ruin anything. But the magic was gone. The bubble had popped. I imagined Liam's tiny voice, probably over cereal, explaining the rules to her. We make weird shakes and keep it a secret. And Megan smiling like it was cute, not realizing it was sacred. I didn't say anything. Not then. But the next Friday when Liam came over, he was different. He looked guilty. Can we still do shake night? He asked quietly. Even though Megan knows? My throat tightened. Of course, buddy. He exhaled in relief. And we made the shakes. This time it was peanut butter, mango, and cinnamon. We both gagged and laughed. But it wasn't the same. It felt like someone had peered into our treehouse with binoculars. And I hated how quickly that joy turned into shame. 2 weeks later, Megan called me. Can I ask you something? She said, her tone tight. Why didn't you ever invite me to shake night? I paused, blindsided. It's just something Liam and I do, I said. It started when he was 5. It's kind of our thing. I know, she said, sharp now. And he loves it. But don't you think it's a little exclusionary to keep something like that from the other adults in his life? I mean, what if Taylor and I started doing something special and didn't tell you about it? I'm sure you already do, I replied. There was a long pause. Then, it's really disappointing to see how territorial you're being. It's not healthy. For Liam. Or for you. That night I broke down. I called my brother Kyle and told him everything. About shake night. About Megan cornering Liam into spilling. About how I felt like I was the bad guy in my own house. He was quiet for a while. Let me ask you something, he said finally. If she found out by accident, sure, maybe it's harmless. But she pressed him for it. That's not curiosity. That's control. And now she's mad she wasn't invited to something you created? Hell no. It was the first time I felt like I wasn't losing my mind. So I made a decision. The next Friday, I told Liam we were doing something different. I said shake night was taking a break, but we'd go on a secret walk instead. Flashlights, PJs, and all. He was thrilled. The week after that, we built a pillow fort in the garage and made shadow puppets. The week after that, we told ghost stories under the table. Megan never found out. And Liam? He looked more relaxed than I'd seen him in weeks. But then Taylor called. Megan said you're shutting her out, she said bluntly. She's been crying on and off all week. I stared at the wall. Taylor, this is between me and my son. I'm not doing anything wrong. You don't think it's wrong to create secrets and traditions and deliberately exclude her? No, I said calmly. I think what's wrong is making a 9-year-old feel guilty for having something special with his dad. Taylor hung up. The next time I saw Megan, it was at Liam's school play. She didn't say a word to me, but when I glanced over, she was glaring like I'd stolen something. And maybe I had. I'd taken back the one thing she couldn't control, me bond with my son. First it was subtle. Comments dropped during handovers. Oh, Liam seemed a little tired when he came back last Sunday. Are you guys getting enough sleep on your weekends? Or, he mentioned you guys went for a late-night walk. Was that safe? Then the messages started. Long paragraphs about child psychology, about how secrecy between a child and one parent can lead to emotional compartmentalization, about how I was alienating her from Liam's world. She even included links to articles, academic ones with highlights and annotations. First, I tried to be diplomatic. I responded with things like, "Thanks for sharing," or, "I'll take that under advisement." But she wasn't satisfied with neutral ground. Megan wanted a confession, a surrender, or both. It came to a head one Sunday when I was dropping Liam back off. We were in the driveway. Liam ran inside to grab his drawing book from the kitchen. Megan stepped out onto the porch. "We need to talk," she said. I sighed. "Sure." She didn't waste time. "I'm not trying to be your enemy," she said. "But you're making it really hard to co-parent effectively." My jaw tightened. "You're not Liam's parent." She flinched. "That's not fair." "But it's true. I love him," she shot back. "I care about him like he's my own. You think I want to compete with you? I don't. But you've turned this into a contest." "This isn't a contest," I said. "It's my relationship with my son. You don't have to be in every single part of it." She crossed her arms, defensive now. "You don't get to gatekeep love. You don't get to decide what's ours and what's shared." I looked her dead in the eye. "When you made Liam tell you about Shake Night, did you even stop to think why he hadn't told you before? Did you ask yourself whether you were respecting his boundaries or mine?" That shut her up for half a second. But then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Well, if you're going to keep building secret traditions, maybe it's time we reassess the custody agreement." And there it was. The nuclear option. My ears buzzed. I didn't even hear Liam come back outside until he tapped my arm. "Dad." I smiled like nothing was wrong. "Ready to go, buddy?" He nodded and we left. But I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up rereading my legal documents, wondering if she could actually do it. If Megan could somehow push Taylor to go back to court. If my weekends, my moments, my everything with Liam might be threatened. The next day I called my lawyer. "Technically," she said, "a step-parent has no legal authority unless the biological parents grant it. But if your ex wants to reopen the custody agreement and has any proof of emotional alienation, it could complicate things." "So what do?" I asked. She paused. "Start documenting everything. Every text. Every drop-off. Every accusation. Be polite but keep a paper trail." So I did. And it didn't take long for that paper trail to grow. Because Megan didn't stop. In fact, she escalated. She started talking to Liam, asking him leading questions like, "Do you ever feel like your dad keeps things from us? Or wouldn't it be fun if we all made shakes together? Or worst of all, don't you think your dad should let me be part of your special stuff too?" Liam, sweet soul that he is, told me everything. He wasn't upset, just confused. "Is Megan mad at you?" he asked one evening, as we were drawing monsters together on the living room floor. "No," I said, lying. "She's just trying to figure out how to fit in. But that's not your job, okay? You don't have to worry about grown-up stuff." He nodded, but I saw the shadow settle in his eyes. The guilt. The same guilt Megan had used to pry into Shake Night. That's when I realized I couldn't just endure this anymore. I had to push back. So I did something I'd never done before. I invited Taylor to coffee. It was awkward at first. We hadn't had a face-to-face meeting without lawyers or scheduling conflicts in over a year. But I didn't want this to be a war. I wanted to explain. I need to talk to you about Megan, I said. Taylor raised an eyebrow. You're not going to start drama, are you? I'm trying to stop it, I said. Please just hear me out. And then I told her everything. The shake nights, the emotional manipulation, the passive-aggressive texts, the threats about custody. Taylor listened in silence, arms folded across her chest. When I finished, she said, "She told me a different story." I'm sure she did. She said you were keeping Liam from bonding with her, that you were encouraging him to hide things, that you told him not to trust her. I never said that, I replied firmly. I've never told Liam to not trust anyone. I just created something that was ours, and she couldn't stand being left out. Taylor's face was hard to read, but she didn't argue. After a moment, she said, "You really think she's manipulating him?" I didn't hesitate. I know she is. She sat back, staring at her coffee like it held answers. I'll talk to her. And that was it. No promises. No apologies. Just 4 words. But it was a start. That weekend, when I picked up Liam, Megan didn't come out to say goodbye. Taylor stood at the door instead. "She's not feeling well," she said shortly. I didn't ask. But Liam was bright-eyed again, laughing louder, less hesitation in his step. I didn't know what Taylor had said to Megan, and I didn't care. All I knew was that the air was lighter. Still, I stayed cautious. I documented everything. I kept our activities simple, quiet. Nothing that could be twisted or used as leverage. Then 2 weeks later, a twist I never saw coming. Liam told me Megan had apologized. She said she's sorry for asking too many questions, he said while chewing a grilled cheese, and that she shouldn't have tried to change our fun time. I blinked. She said that. He nodded. She said she still wants to do cool stuff with me, but she doesn't have to be in everything, and that she was being pushy. I couldn't believe it. I mean, part of me didn't. Was this a tactic? A new strategy? Or was it real? I texted Taylor that night. Liam told me Megan apologized. Is that true? She replied a few minutes later. Taylor, yeah, we had a hard conversation. I made her realize she crossed a line. Thank you. Taylor, don't thank me. I'm still pissed you didn't bring this up sooner. Fair enough. But for once, the storm seemed to settle. The next weekend, I got a surprise. When I opened the door, Liam handed me a little envelope with glitter on it. Inside was a card that said, "To Dad and Liam, hope Shake Night is extra epic this week. Love, Megan." It wasn't a peace treaty. It wasn't surrender. But it was something. And inside me, something else started to shift. I didn't forgive her completely, but I did begin to understand. She didn't just want control. She wanted belonging. She was clumsy, overbearing, controlling even. But behind all that, she was scared. Scared of being irrelevant. Of being second place in a boy's heart that wasn't hers by birth. I still didn't think that gave her the right to breach our boundary. But I did realize something crucial. If I wanted Liam to grow up understanding the difference between sharing and intrusion, between love and possessiveness, I had to model that myself. And maybe, just maybe, I had to loosen my grip a little too. Not let go of our bond, but make room around it. Just enough. I didn't tell Megan I appreciated the card. I wasn't there yet. But I didn't throw it away either. I kept it on the fridge, next to one of Liam's stick figure drawings of the two of us holding milkshakes. The next Friday, we made one with crushed Oreos, hot sauce, and whipped cream. Liam gagged dramatically after one sip and pretended to faint on the kitchen floor. I laughed so hard my sides hurt. For a little while, everything felt normal again. Easy. Light. But peace never lasts long in a house full of bruised egos. 2 weekends later, the old pattern crept back in. This time, it wasn't Megan interrogating Liam or making passive-aggressive comments. It was something subtler. Liam was quieter when I picked him up. More distracted. He sat in the back seat twiddling his thumbs, eyes darting toward the window. When I asked how his week was, he mumbled fine, and didn't say much else. That night, I noticed he wasn't as into our milkshake experiment. He just stirred the glass with his straw and stared into the brown mush like it was a crystal ball. I finally asked, "Hey, everything okay?" He bit his lip. "I don't know. Did something happen?" He shrugged. I just feel weird. I leaned in gently. You know you can talk to me about anything, right? He nodded, eyes still down. Then he whispered, I think I made everything worse. I felt my heart sink. What do you mean? I told Megan I liked that she gave us the card. But then she asked if she could do shake night just once with us. Like just one time. To see what it's like. I stayed calm. Barely. What did you say? I said I didn't know. I told her I'd have to ask you. And she said, well, you could surprise him, right? And I said no. But then she got really quiet. He looked up at me terrified. Did I mess everything up? I put a hand on his back. Hey, no, you didn't do anything wrong. You were honest. And that's brave. I'm proud of you. He didn't smile. Instead, he said, I think she's mad again. And now I feel like I hurt her. And you. I hated that this child, this sweet, sensitive, brilliant little boy, was stuck in the middle of a tug-of-war no kid should be part of. Later that night, when Liam was asleep, I stared at the ceiling for hours. I kept hearing his voice in my head. I think I made everything worse. He didn't mess things up. The adults did. Megan wasn't evil, but she was immature. She couldn't see the difference between inclusion and invasion, between bonding and absorbing someone else's space. And Taylor, she was trying, but she was also tired. I could tell. So maybe it had to be me. Maybe it was time to redraw the line. I sent Megan a message. Me. I think it's time we talked. Face to face. Not about blame, about what's best for Liam. You in. She didn't reply for 3 hours. When she did, it was short. Megan. Okay. We met at a diner the next evening. Neutral ground. I got there early, sat in a corner booth, ordered a coffee and waited. She walked in 10 minutes late wearing a stiff smile and tight blazer like she was interviewing for a job. I nodded. She sat. No small talk. I'll be direct, I said. This isn't working. Her face twitched. You're not going to make this easy, are you? I don't think easy has been in the cards for a while. Silence stretched between us like a frayed rope. I never meant to hurt Liam, she said eventually. I thought I was helping. I know you love him, I said. But love isn't about being in everything. It's about respecting what's sacred. And some things, some bonds aren't meant to be shared. She looked wounded. You make it sound like I'm some parasite. No, I said softly. But you're trying to write yourself into a chapter that was already written. That isn't rejection. It's just reality. I just want him to know I care, she whispered. Then show him by letting him breathe. Let him have different versions of himself with different people. That's not exclusion. That's freedom. Her eyes welled up. I think for the first time she actually heard me. I spent my whole childhood watching my stepdad leave me out, she said. He never saw me as real. I swore I'd never be like that. My anger softened. Just a little. Megan, this isn't about being shut out. It's about not forcing your way in. Liam will invite you when he's ready. If he feels safe. She nodded slowly, wiping her eyes with the sleeve of her blazer. I think I messed up. I know you did, I said gently. But I also know you can fix it. We sat in silence a while longer. When she finally stood up, she looked 10 pounds lighter. I'll back off. I promise. Thank you. As she left, I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. I respected her more now than I ever had. Not because she agreed with me, but because she was finally listening. That weekend, Shake Night returned in full glory. Liam was back to his goofy self. We made a combo of watermelon, chocolate chips, and wasabi. I spat mine out instantly. He laughed so hard he nearly fell off the stool. Best one yet, he declared proudly. But there was one more surprise in store. On Sunday morning, just before dropping him off, Liam tugged at my sleeve. Hey, Dad. Yeah, buddy. He held out a small folded piece of paper. What's this? Something I made. I opened it slowly. Inside was a drawing. Me, Liam, and Megan all holding different colored milkshakes. The caption in his blocky handwriting said, "It's okay to share sometimes." I stared at it for a long time. Liam bit his lip. Is that bad? No, kiddo, I said, voice thick. It's perfect. Because he got it. He understood. It wasn't about drawing walls or building fortresses. It was about balance, about choosing when to open the door and when to close it. So the next time Megan sent a card, I sent one back. Not an invitation to shake night, but a thank you for trying again. Things didn't magically become perfect after that diner conversation, but they became possible. Megan actually followed through on her promise. She stopped pressing Liam with questions about our time together. She didn't ask about the shakes. She didn't drop off helpful ingredients or mention joining in next time. In fact, she stepped back so far I half expected the silence to be a setup. But it wasn't. At least not this time. Liam noticed too. He told me, one evening as we were sipping on a truly disgusting ginger pickle banana shake, Megan hasn't been asking me about shake night anymore. Do you like that? He nodded. Yeah. I feel like it's mine again. That word hit me like a dart to the heart. Mine. I don't think adults realize how little kids feel like they own in their world. Everything's scheduled, filtered, shared, packed, repacked, decided for them. School, food, bedtime, friendships theory constantly being managed by someone else. So when a child says, "This is mine," they don't mean ownership the way adults do. They mean sanctuary. And that's what Shake Night was. It was a place where Liam could be gross and funny and curious and loud in himself, with no one judging, correcting, or trying to improve it. It was his. And I'd be damned if I ever let anyone take that away again. But to my surprise, Megan didn't try. In fact, something strange and unexpectedly good began happening. Instead of fighting to be part of Shake Night, she started creating her own things with Liam, on her own time, without copying or co-opting what we had. They started doing art days together, painting rocks in the backyard, making cards for the neighbors. Liam even told me about a birdhouse they were building out of popsicle sticks. He was excited, but not in the way that threatened what we had. It was more like he was expanded. He was growing. I'll admit it, my first reaction was jealousy. That gut punch of seeing someone else making memories with your child. Especially someone who'd once trampled over your boundaries like a bull in a china shop. But then Liam said something that shifted me entirely. We're gonna hang the birdhouse near the window so I can see if any birds come. Megan said I can name the first one after you. My throat caught. Oh yeah, I said, pretending to sip my coffee to hide the sudden emotion. What'll you call it? Big Dad Bird, he grinned. He'll be the boss of all the little ones. And just like that, the knot in my chest unraveled. Because Megan wasn't replacing me. She wasn't even competing anymore. She was simply adding to Liam's world. And this time she was doing it the right way. Respecting the space that already existed. That's all I'd ever wanted. A few weeks later, Taylor called me out of the blue. I wanted to say thank you, she said. I blinked. For what? For sticking with it, she said. For not turning this into some custody battle. For being patient. For letting Megan figure it out even if it took too long. I didn't say anything right away. Because honestly I hadn't done it for Megan. I'd done it for Liam. And myself. But I appreciated the sentiment. I just want him to grow up knowing it's okay to protect what matters, I finally said. And it's okay to share it when it feels safe. Not when someone demands it. Taylor sighed. You're a good dad. And for the first time in a long time I believed her. We fell into a new rhythm after that. Fridays were still mine. Still sacred. But less tense. Less about hiding. Liam would sometimes bring a rock he painted with Megan to show me. I'd tell him it looked awesome. Even when it was just a blue blob with googly eyes. He'd laugh and pretend the rock had a British accent or was allergic to sunlight. It was silly and perfect. I even started keeping a box for them in my clothes. This treasures. A rock, a drawing, a napkin with a joke scrawled in purple crayon. Liam's world captured in pieces. And eventually something I never thought would happen did. He invited Megan to Shake Night. On his own. We were at the grocery store picking up ingredients for a new batch. He was browsing the toppings aisle holding up sardines with a wicked grin when he said, "Do you think we could let Megan try a shake one day?" I didn't react right away. I looked at him, really looked. He wasn't saying it out of guilt. Or pressure. He wasn't trying to patch something up. He was simply offering. A bridge. I think that's a great idea, I said. So the next weekend Megan joined us. We made one milkshake for each of us. Megan chose coconut, lime, and gingerbread. Liam made a candy hurricane: Skittles, chocolate syrup, gummy worms, and orange soda. I made something I knew would be awful: avocado, jalapeno, and blueberry. We gagged. We laughed. Megan actually cried from the heat in mine. And for one fleeting moment we were just people. No court orders. No power struggles. No hidden agendas. Just three humans sharing something messy, ridiculous, and beautiful. When it was over, Liam clapped his hands and declared, "That's it. Megan's allowed once a month. But only if she promises to drink everything in her cup." She saluted and said, "Yes, chef." I couldn't help smiling. Later that night, when Megan had gone home and Liam was brushing his teeth, he looked at me through the mirror and said, "That was a good one, huh?" "The best," I said. And I meant it. Because it wasn't about the milkshakes. It never was. It was about boundaries, and respect, and letting people earn their way into your sacred spaces, instead of storming in uninvited. And most of all, it was about love. The quiet, powerful kind. The kind that knows when to hold on tight, and when to gently let someone else in. Liam taught me that. And strangely, so did Megan. Not by being perfect, but by learning how to stop trying so hard to be. And I realized something as I watched Liam crawl into bed that night. He wasn't just safe. He was seen. He knew who he was with me. And now he knew it was okay to be that in someone else somewhere else. He was building his own world. And all I had to do was honor the pieces of it he chose to share with me. So, am I the asshole for not inviting Megan to shake night? No. I was a father protecting his son's joy. And because I held that line, Megan finally learned how to build her own bridge, one made of patience, apology, and effort. That's what real family looks like. Not forced closeness, but earned trust.